1973 was a strange year for music, not just because of how it sounded, but because of what people chose to make hits. Somewhere between singer-songwriter introspection and glam rock spectacle, a different kind of song slipped through. Unusual, unexpected, sometimes even ridiculous. And yet they worked. They climbed the charts, dominated radio, became part of everyday life. Because every now and then the public doesn't follow the rules. It breaks them. These are the songs that shouldn't have been hits, but somehow were. Number 10, Convoy, CW McCall. At first, it barely feels like a song. Convoy doesn't begin with melody. It begins with a voice. Spoken, not sung. Casual, almost improvised. A stream of CB radio chatter that sounds more like a conversation than a record. And that's exactly what it is. Created by CW McCall, the track leans heavily into the culture of American truck drivers, full of slang, code words, and references that most listeners didn't fully understand.
Come on, join our convoy, ain't nothing gonna get in our way.
It's oddly specific, almost alien, and yet it caught on. There's a rhythm beneath the speech, a loose musical structure that keeps everything moving forward. It doesn't follow traditional pop rules, but it doesn't need to, because the appeal isn't in the melody. It's in the world it creates. Listeners weren't just hearing a song, they were stepping into a subculture, one that felt authentic, strange, and completely different from anything else on the radio. Despite, or perhaps because of, its unconventional style, Convoy became a massive hit, reaching number 1 on the Billboard charts. A spoken-word trucking anthem that somehow turned into a pop phenomenon. Number 9, the cover of the Rolling Stone, Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. It sounds like a joke, and that's because it is. The cover of Rolling Stone doesn't try to hide its absurdity. From the opening lines, the song leans into self-parody, a band singing about how famous they want to be, listing all the cliches of rock stardom like a checklist. We got all the friends that money can buy. It's exaggerated, over the top, almost cartoonish, but beneath the humor is something sharper. The song, written by Shel Silverstein, quietly pokes at the machinery of fame. The idea that success isn't just about music anymore, but image, exposure, and media validation. Specifically, one thing: getting on the cover of Rolling Stone.
On the cover of the Rolling Stone.
Musically, the track keeps things simple. A laid-back country rock groove, nothing flashy, nothing distracting. The focus stays on the lyrics, the wit, the irony, the knowing tone, and audiences loved it. Released in 1973, the song climbed into the top 10 in the US, becoming one of the band's biggest hits. And in a perfect twist, they actually did end up on the cover of Rolling Stone, a novelty song about fame that accidentally achieved it. Number 8, Dead Skunk, Loudon Wainwright III. It's about a dead animal. That alone should have been enough to keep Dead Skunk off the radio. Instead, it did the opposite. Built around a cheerful, almost carefree melody, the song describes something oddly specific: the lingering smell of a skunk lying in the road. There's no metaphor hiding underneath, no deeper symbolic meaning waiting to be uncovered. Just a dead skunk.
Dead skunk in the middle of the road,
Stinkin' to high heaven. And somehow, it's catchy. That's the strange brilliance of the track. The music feels light, almost playful, while the subject matter is mundane, even unpleasant. The contrast is so sharp that it becomes memorable. You don't expect it, and that's why it sticks. Released in 1973, the song climbed into the top 20 on the Billboard charts, a rare feat for something that feels more like a novelty idea than a conventional pop single. For Loudon Wainwright III, it became his most recognizable hit, but also something of a shadow. Because once a song like this defines you, it's hard to escape it. A cheerful tune, about something that smells terrible that somehow turned into a nationwide hit. Number 7, Playground in My Mind, Clint Holmes. It sounds like a children's song, and in many ways, it is. Playground in My Mind arrives with a light, bouncy melody, a simple structure, and, most notably, a child's voice repeating lines that feel almost nursery-like. It's innocent, repetitive, almost disarmingly simple, and that's exactly what makes it strange. Because this wasn't a children's record tucked away in a niche market. It was a mainstream hit, played on adult radio, climbing the charts, sitting alongside serious singer-songwriters and rock acts of the early 70s. The contrast is hard to ignore. Musically, the arrangement is soft and accessible, built around gentle instrumentation that keeps everything easy to follow. There's nothing complex here, nothing demanding, just a loop of melody and memory.
Gonna buy me all kinds of candy.
Released in 1973, the song reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming Clint Holmes' biggest hit. But like many novelty-leaning records, its success was difficult to replicate. Because once a song is defined by its simplicity, there's nowhere else to go. A hit built on childlike repetition that somehow found its way into the adult world and stayed there. Number 6, Funky Worm, Ohio Players. At first, it sounds like funk as usual, a deep groove, tight rhythm section, bass and drums locking into something undeniably smooth. Funky Worm begins like a track you think you understand. Then, it shifts. A high-pitched synthesizer voice cuts through the mix, squealing, bending, almost cartoonish. It doesn't sound human. It doesn't even sound natural. It sounds like something playful or completely unhinged, and suddenly the song becomes something else. That sound, performed on a Moog synthesizer, doesn't follow traditional melody. It talks, it squeaks, it dances in a way that feels unpredictable, almost absurd. And yet, it works. The groove never breaks. The rhythm stays grounded, giving the chaos something to stand on. That balance between structure and strangeness is what makes the track stick. Released in 1973, Funky Worm climbed into the top 20 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became one of the Ohio Players' signature songs. But its influence didn't stop there. That strange, elastic synth line would go on to be sampled countless times in hip-hop, decades later. A bizarre sound experiment that somehow became timeless. Number 5, Brother Louie, Stories. It sounds like a radio-friendly rock hit. A steady groove, catchy chorus, smooth production that fits perfectly into early 70s playlists. Brother Louie doesn't feel strange at first. It feels familiar. But listen closer. The song tells the story of an interracial relationship and the tension that surrounds it. Not just from society, but from family. Disapproval, pressure, division. The chorus repeats like a chant, almost disguising the weight of what's being said. Originally recorded by Hot Chocolate, the song took on a slightly different edge when Stories released their version in 1973. It became sharper, more direct, and unexpectedly more successful. The track climbed to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and that's what makes it unusual. A song dealing with racial tension, wrapped in a format that sounds accessible, even easy. The music doesn't confront you, it invites you in. And only after you're inside, do you realize what it's actually about. A familiar sound, carrying a message that wasn't always easy to hear. Number 4, Walk on the Wild Side, Lou Reed.
Thought she was Jim Dean for a day.
It doesn't sound like a hit, a slow tempo, minimal arrangement, a bass line that barely moves. Walk on the Wild Side feels almost too relaxed, like it's drifting rather than trying to grab attention. And yet, it did. What makes the song truly strange isn't just the sound, it's the subject matter. Each verse introduces a different character from Andy Warhol's circle. figures living on the fringes of society, navigating identity, sexuality, and survival in ways rarely heard on mainstream radio. The delivery is casual, almost detached. There's no judgment, no dramatic emphasis, just observation. And that's what makes it unsettling. The music stays smooth. The famous do-do-do backing vocals feel almost comforting. But the stories being told are anything but conventional, especially for 1973. Released as a single, the song climbed into the top 20 in the US, becoming Lou Reed's most successful solo hit. A track about outsiders that somehow became mainstream. Not by changing its message, but by delivering it so calmly that it slipped past expectations unnoticed. Number 3, The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, Vicki Lawrence.
He said, hi, what's doing? Whoa, sit down.
It sounds like a simple story, a steady rhythm, a country pop arrangement that feels familiar, even comforting. The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia plays like a narrative you can follow easily, verse by verse, detail by detail. But the deeper you go, the darker it gets. The song tells the story of a man wrongfully accused of murder, betrayed by circumstance, and ultimately executed. Only at the end do we learn the truth. The real killer has been there all along, quietly telling the story. And there's no justice.
The night that the lights went out in Georgia.
That's the twist. Musically, nothing prepares you for it. The melody stays consistent, almost calm. The chorus is catchy, even singable. It doesn't signal danger, it hides it. And that's why it works. Listeners follow the story without realizing where it's heading, carried by a sound that feels safe.
He went off to Andy's house.
Released in 1973, the song reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming Vicki Lawrence's biggest hit. A murder ballad, with a twist ending, that somehow became a mainstream pop success. A story of injustice, wrapped in a melody you could hum. Number 2, Frankenstein, the Edgar Winter Group. No lyrics, no story, no voice to follow, and somehow, it became a number 1 hit. Frankenstein is strange before it even begins. Built as an instrumental, the track rejects one of pop music's most basic rules, the need for a singer. Instead, it relies entirely on sound, and not just any sound. Synthesizers buzz, guitars shift in tone, rhythms break, pause, and rebuild. The structure feels almost mechanical, as if the song is being assembled in real time, piece by piece, which is exactly how it was made. The track was famously stitched together from multiple tape edits by Edgar Winter, earning it the name Frankenstein, a composition built from separate parts. But what should feel disjointed doesn't. It flows. That's the paradox. Despite its experimental nature, the groove locks in. The main riff hits, the momentum builds, and suddenly, something that feels unconventional becomes undeniably accessible. Released in 1973, the song climbed to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, a rare achievement for an instrumental. A track with no lyrics, no narrative, just sound. And somehow that was enough. Number 1, Hocus Pocus, Focus. It doesn't make sense. That's the first thing you notice. Hocus Pocus doesn't follow structure. It doesn't follow genre. It doesn't even follow logic. One moment it's a fast-paced rock instrumental, tight, precise, almost technical. Then suddenly, yodeling, whistling, nonsensical vocals, shifts in tempo that feel almost chaotic. And yet, it works. Performed by Focus, the track feels like a collision of ideas that shouldn't coexist. Progressive rock complexity meets absurd humor. Precision meets unpredictability. At the center of it all is Thijs van Leer, whose wild vocal shifts, from operatic tones to sudden yodels, turn the song into something completely unclassifiable. There are no lyrics to follow, no clear message, just energy. Relentless, unpredictable energy. Released in 1973, Hocus Pocus became an international hit, breaking into the top 10 in the United States, a rare feat for something so unconventional. And that's what makes it the perfect ending to this list, because it doesn't just bend the rules, it ignores them completely. A song that sounds like chaos, that somehow became a global success.